Hello, welcome in. Kamala Harris is taking the stage about 20 minutes earlier than expected. So Kamala is about to start speaking. Let's listen in. Do we have her audio? Oh boy. Let's see here. Except you guys have it.
Oh, it's good to be back in Savannah. Good afternoon.
Give me 1 second here, guys. Let's see if I can get this working. Thank you for your patience.
Can we please hear
Cool.
for
There we
Caitlin
go.
and her incredible,
How we doing, Lenny, Old Soul, Anita, Joe?
her incredible leadership.
Welcome in, everyone.
At our young leaders like Caitlin, I know our future is so bright. It is so bright. I want to thank Mayor Johnson. Thank you for yours. There you are. We've been hanging out for the last 2 days. Mayor, I thank you so very much for your leadership. Thank you. Congresswoman Nikema Williams, the chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia.
Castle, welcome to the chat.
For your friendship and your sisterhood. And to all the leaders with us today, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I also bring greetings from our president and a great friend of the state of Georgia, Joe Biden. And let us also send our love to the great president from the state of Georgia, Jimmy Carter. So, Georgia, I love you back. I love you back.
Joe, is the color off?
And
You know what? I mean, I
68
think my
days to
Streamlabs
go
has
until this
been
election.
kind of
68
off and on.
days
Audio
to
wasn't
go.
coming up. The microphone wasn't coming up. The color
And
might
I
be
think you
off.
all
I don't know. Is anyone
have
else
spent your
getting that?
time here, sacrificing all your other obligations to be here together, us as one community, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And I thank you for taking that time. And listen, so we're here to speak truth. And one of the things that we know, this is going to be a tight race until the very end. Okay? So let's not pay too much attention to the polls because we are running as the underdog. Okay? And we have some hard work ahead of us. Okay? But we like hard work. And we have some hard work. Hard work is good work. And with your help, we are going to win this
Yeah, I don't know. I
November.
clicked on the. That's why the audio came up. I clicked on the video. It doesn't look
Yes,
bad
we
on
will.
my end. So
So look, Georgia, let me say, I'm no stranger to tough fights. Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general, and before that, an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So every day in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I spoke 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people.
Shakama, Yolanda, Joey, Sue, Irene, Cecil, thank you guys for liking this stream.
My entire
Over on Facebook,
career,
Marianne,
I've
Vivian,
only
Dominic.
had one client,
Welcome,
the
guys.
people. I stood for women and children against predators who abused them. I took on the big banks and delivered $20 billion from middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I fought against cartels who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. And I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges, for workers who were being cheated out of the wages they were due, and for seniors facing elder abuse. And I
Ashley
will tell
Lamb
you,
cooking in the kitchen from Indiana.
those fights were not easy.
What's up, Ashley?
And neither were the elections that put me in those offices. But we never gave up, because the future is always worth fighting for.
Mary Jane from Montana over on Facebook. How are you, Mary Jane?
And that is the fight we are in right now, a fight for America's future. We fight for a future with affordable child care, paid leave, and affordable health care. And on that last subject, let's finally expand Medicaid in Georgia so people can take their child to a doctor or go to an emergency room without going into medical debt. We fight for a future where we build what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has the opportunity to own a home, to start a business, and to build wealth and intergenerational wealth.
What's up, Lee David Hintoff from the
And
UK?
a future where we lower the cost
Welcome in.
of living for
Across the pond.
America's families. So when I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And love you back. And I will tell you, when we get this done together, my friend, and when I am president, I will take on the bad actors who exploit a crisis to rip off consumers on everyday items. Who rip off consumers on everyday items like groceries. I will take on Big Pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs and insulin for all Americans.
What's up, Angela?
I will take on the high cost of housing and work with developers to cut the red tape and build millions of new homes. And I will give 100 million Americans a tax cut, including $6,000 to families during the first year of their child's life. Understanding folks just need a little help from time to time, and it's not about just getting by, it's about getting ahead. $6,000 in the first year of a child's life to help pay for that car seat or the crib or the baby clothes.
Meg, are you listening? These are policies. These are policy plans that
And
Kamala
unlike
has. Just
Donald Trump, I will always
point
put the
that out.
middle class and working class families first. I come from the middle class. I know what I'm talking about. And Savannah, but we got some work to do, okay? We got some work to do because we know Donald Trump has a very different plan. He has a very different plan. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. Right. If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. And he wants to impose what, in effect, is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities. And it will cost, the economists will tell you, it will cost a typical American family nearly $4,000 a year. So Georgia, on top of all of this, if Donald Trump wins in November, he intends to end the Affordable Care Act, to take us back to a time when insurance companies were not going back.
Rachel Lopez, 100 stars over on Facebook. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
And the reason we know we can't go back, to your point, the reason we know we can't go back, on the issue of the Affordable Care Act, remember what that was like before we had the Affordable Care Act? Remember when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions? Remember what that was like? Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. So yeah, we're not going back.
Old Soul says last night she saw black women's voter registration go up 175%. She's motivated us like no other. Jane H. Lacey, watching from UK, I am Lee David Hindaw's mother. Haha, families watching together.
For the future.
Awesome. Welcome,
And
the
it
Hindaws.
is a fight for freedom.
And the
Like
Lacey's.
the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And understand how we got here. When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did just as he intended. And now, more than 20 states have a Trump abortion ban, including Georgia. In fact, every state in the South, except for Virginia, has a Trump abortion ban. And think about that. Many, with no exceptions even for rape and incest. That is immoral.
Every state in the South, except Virginia.
And let us all agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. Trump will go further. He will sign a national abortion ban. You best believe. And he would
And she is killing him on the abortion matter.
And force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. It's right there in Project 2025. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Simply put, they are out of their minds.
Yeah, Kamala really wants to win Georgia.
Why don't they trust women? Well, we trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
Yeah, I think her Atlanta rally was like her 3rd or 4th rally that she held after she announced her presidency.
And across
So she's
our
already
nation,
back in Georgia?
In addition to that, we are witnessing a full-on assault on other hard-fought, hard-won fundamental freedoms and rights.
Looks like we got another protester.
let me just say something. Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The president and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now.
Yeah, I think this is like the third time a protester interrupted her like this. So
So back to this election.
she's very good. Very good at turning it around.
In addition to the fight
she's
on
doing
the
a fantastic
fundamental
job.
freedom to make decisions about one's own body, I have been traveling our country, and the people of Georgia know what I know. There is a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms
I
and
see you,
rights,
Dixie Lou Who. Thanks for joining us.
including the freedom to
You're
vote,
welcome for hosting this.
the
Cool. So it
freedom
looks like
to be safe,
the protesters are coming in kind of packs. So protesters are coming in again.
and an attack on the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. And we will fight against all of that, including the freedom to live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis. Here's the thing. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now, Savannah, the baton is in our hands. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks and red flag laws.
Joe, every time I try to use voice to text, it literally puts a comma in. It's funny.
So much is on the line in this election. So much is on the line. And understand, this is not 2016 or 2020. Things are different. A lot is the same when we think about the issues, and then there is significant differences. The stakes in 2024 are even higher, because consider that the United States Supreme Court recently just basically told the former president that going forward, he will be effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now just imagine, well, the courts are gonna take care of that. We're gonna get them out of, we're gonna elect ourselves and everybody here in November.
Anita, I see you.
But I mentioned the Supreme Court ruling because understand what this means. Just imagine, before there was at least the threat of consequence, understand what it now means, and imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. Imagine what that means when you consider he has openly vowed that if reelected on day one, he will be a dictator. That he would end the independence of the Department of Justice so he could have unchecked power and seek vengeance against people who disagree with him. He even called for termination of the United States Supreme, the supreme land of our nation, the United States Constitution. Think about what that means, and let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy,
Never again.
I don't think we've ever heard in our lifetimes a president,
So it all
be
comes
talked
down to
about
this.
and use words
We
like
are all here
vengeance
together,
to
spending this
describe,
time together
what
because
he'll
we
do when
love
he's in the White
our
House.
country.
Really
we love
insane.
our country. We love our country. And we know the privilege and pride that comes with being American. And I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That is how we realize the promise of America. Georgia, for the past 2 election cycles, voters in this very state, you who are here, have delivered. You sent 2 extraordinary senators to Washington, D.C. You sent President Biden and me to the White House. You showed up, you knocked on doors, you registered folks to vote, and you made it happen. You did that.
Susan
You
K.,
did that.
it's going to be fun to watch Kamala
And
debate
so
Trump.
now
Kamala
we
is
are
sharp and knows the
asking you to
facts.
do it
Trump
again.
isn't articulate or intelligent enough to get anything over Kamala. Oh, 100%, Susan.
Let's do it
September
again.
10th is the beginning of the end
So,
for
Savannah,
Donald.
are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, God bless you and God bless the United States of America.
There we go. There we go. Kamala hitting Georgia hard. Like I said, this is, I think, her second or third campaign rally in Georgia. She may have had 2 in Atlanta. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, that speech was heavy on abortion. She knows that, young women in Georgia are fed up. And I mean, oh, jeez. I made this point in the video I made earlier. If you're a woman, I mean, you have to just be so sick and tired of just Donald's just relentless attacks on women. And that's why I played the Hakeem Jeffries speech from the National Convention, which he's like, Donald is the boyfriend that you broke up with who keeps spinning the block. And Donald, we are never getting back together. And then he goes and he posts, these ridiculous things to his Truth Social post. Michelle Hayden, Missy Spoon, 99 stars over on Facebook. Don't forget the flood victims in surrounding counties. We need you, VP Kamala Harris for president 2025. So he he posts these things and he just continues to just smash his head against the wall when it comes to trying to talk to and appeal to women in this country. First, he strips them of their reproductive rights, and then he goes out and uses these disgusting slurs about Kamala, who is gaining traction with female voters. Like Old Soul said, Black female registration is up 175%. Kamala has raised $525 million in 30 days. And Donald just doesn't seem to get that, like, his erratic behavior is only making it worse for him. I mean, he's speaking actually right now. Let's check on him. Let's see what he's doing.
See people that they were growing up with, great swimmers, and then they look over and they see this huge.
Okay, so now he's
who's
talking
Wilt
about
Chamberlain, but slightly bigger. And she says,
he's talking about trans athletes. I mean, we just check in to his speech, and we know he's saying something stupid, right? We know he's saying something ignorant. So Donald is just, I mean, we have what, like almost 2 weeks until the 10th. That debate is going to be so embarrassing for Donald. I mean, he is going to get absolutely destroyed. So I'm going to be live streaming that, and probably I wonder if what oh geez. Oh geez, he's talking about how it's demeaning to
Never had
women.
anything like it, but
We
you have to
love
watch
women.
the fights. It's so,
I mean, is this perfect? Was this perfect timing? Yeah, Donald, you're a creep.
It was like they didn't even...
You're a creep. We don't want anything to do with you anymore. I mean, look at his face. My goodness, he looks dumb. So be sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already, so that you can tune in for that debate on September 10th. Tonight is the big interview, right, with Kamala and CNN and Dana Bash. They've already released like a small clip where Kamala just talks about, you know, her changing policies or her changing perspective on things, and she's like, "What are you talking about changing? Like Green New Deal?" You know, and she brings up some other things that she's like, well, you keep talking about how my perspective is changing when I've been pushing for a clean energy and pushing for a more equitable economy forever. So that's going to be really interesting tonight. I'll probably be making some clips about that. So be sure to check in with the channel, and I will post the next live stream, her next rally, whenever that happens. Let's check C-SPAN here, and yeah, so it says President Trump is going to hold let's see if you guys can see this. He's going to hold a town hall in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which, I mean, that is going to be a circus. If Donald Trump is going to take questions, this is going to be a nightmare. So I actually might stream that because of how embarrassing it will be. But in the meantime, I am going to log off here. I do just want to say some quick thanks for Lenny and Joe doing some moderating here. A bunch of people joined us on Facebook. Thank you guys all so much for liking the stream. Donna, Paul, Francis, Shirley, Eduardo, Michelle, thanks again for the stars. Victoria, Philip, and then, of course, Lay and Jane. Lay, I hope I'm saying your name right. Yeah, thank you guys all so much. Old Soul, good to see you in the chat. Janine, Anita, who else do we got in here? Kat Rin, Buster Brown. Yeah. Thank you guys all so much. Quick stream, 29 minutes, just about TV show length, and we are in and out. So I will. I'm definitely going to be live streaming Donald Trump's town hall. If like the only way I'm gonna stream it is if it's like a reasonable town hall where people are. I mean, let's be real. It's a Trump event, so all the questions are going to be vetted, and he's going to be prepared for it. So we'll see. I mean, I'll live stream it, but if it turns into just like a blatant publicity stunt, then I probably won't carry it. But at the same time, the Trump campaign is so bad at planning things. I mean, like, even look at like Arlington National Cemetery, where one of his staffers got into a fight with the Arlington National Cemetery staff. Even if they try to plan things, they still manage to screw it up. Ridiculous. ridiculous the world we're living in with the Donald Trump 2024 campaign. It is just a circus. So be sure to check back in looks like an hour and 15, and we will watch Donald Trump continue to swirl around the drain that is his 2024 campaign. Thanks again for watching.